Life is so busy. If you blink, you can miss something amazing. It's important to take a moment and enjoy what we have and the people around us. I'm Mo Hagan, Chief Operating Officer for CanFit Pro, and welcome to A Moment with Mo, a podcast where I will welcome some incredible guests to talk fitness and nutrition, mindset and self-empowerment, setting our goals into action, and much, much more. Now let's get chatting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode, A Moment with Mo, where I, Mo Hagan, will be your host, and we will dive deep into conversations around health and wellness, personal and professional growth. What I love about these episodes is that each one is different and unique because of the guest. Each guest brings their own lived experiences, unique perspectives, so prepare to be captivated as they share with you their insights, both personal and professional, about their journey and the lessons learned along the way. More importantly, what makes their journey meaningful and uplifting for you in the lessons they share. My mission to inspire positive change globally has been a lifelong pursuit. And it really crystallized about 10 years ago when I embarked upon some coaching. And that coaching allowed me to take a journey to really explore my career and my life. And through this journey, I really had the opportunity of aligning my actions with my deepest aspirations, uncovering my why, how I can serve the world in my own unique way with my gifts and strengths, and really allow me to do what I do best every day. And in doing so, I get to wake up every day with purpose. That is, knowing why I exist and how I can help move the world forward and the people within it. And in that journey, it also helped me gain confidence. And in that confidence, I'm really able now to share the similar lessons I've learned with others to help them move forward on their journey and find their why. And it's so important that we all explore this journey. Why? Because when you know why, the way appears. And they say often you don't need to know what the heck you're doing at times, as long as you know why you're doing it. The what and the how will declare itself. This is true for everything that we do in life and in our life purpose. So on that, I'd love to introduce you to our guest today. Will be a very empowering story and also incredible intel into a really important subject matter near and dear to my heart. And we're going to learn a lot together. So please welcome my guest today for this episode, adaptive athlete, certified adaptive fitness professional, and fitness consultant, Jess Silver. Good day, my friend.
Hi, Mo. So good to be here. Thank you for the introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm going to introduce you for those who haven't had the honor of knowing you, working with you, or even meeting you before. And then we're going to talk about your personal story because it really will tee us up for the work that you do today and the work that we're all doing together to move not only the fitness industry forward, but the health and well-being of all persons in this world on their journey. So for those who haven't met Jess, haven't been to an event with Jess before, I just want to give you a little bit more about Jess's background. She is the founder and executive director of Flex for Access, a registered nonprofit organization. We will talk about that today. And this is her organization founded with a mandate to provide adaptive fitness and sport opportunities for physical disability and injury management in mainstream gyms, exercise facilities, and settings that focus on physical literacy and sports performance. In addition to being an adaptive athlete and certified adaptive fitness professional and fitness consultant, Jess is a medical writer, editor, and marketer, and a two-time Amazon best-selling author. And I have one of your books, Jess, so I hope we get to touch on that a little bit. But thank you for being here. And I'd love you to start by, helping us, step into this conversation today by sharing not only the amazing work you do, but let's go back. I'd love for our viewers and listeners to learn your personal story and some of your journey and why you are doing the work you're doing today.
Thank you for having me. I'm always so humbled to be in your presence and to do any collaborative work with you. So my story starts out from when I was born. Pretty much. I was born at 2 pounds. I was 2 pounds and 3 months premature. And I was born with a condition called cerebral palsy, which is a neurological condition and physical disability that affects my ability to walk independently. But I am so much more than the physical condition that I was diagnosed with at birth, which, when people hear that, they go, wow. And, they would typically feel bad for me because there would be so many things that I wouldn't be able to do. And sure, that's very much a large part of my story, where doctors told my parents that I wouldn't be able to do so many things. I wouldn't be able to speak. I wouldn't be able to feed myself. I wouldn't be able to walk. I wouldn't be able to stand. And one doctor also said that I would be visually impaired. And they said basically to my parents at birth, when they did the MRIs and, all the scans of my brain, that to basically expect that my life would be very different and their life, because of that, would be very different from, quote unquote, an individual who doesn't have a disability and who's, quote unquote, able-bodied or normal, whatever normal means these days. But my whole life, I have lived with the philosophy that no matter the challenges we face and limitations we face, we still need to find ways to do things that we want to achieve, and we need to find ways to defy our own limitations and continually excel and exceed the expectations that others set for us. So a little bit about me. I went to school. I graduated from high school with all of my peers, and then I got my master's degree in creative writing. I've been a writer since I was 6 years old. Writing is the way that I feel I can best express myself. It allows me to reflect on all of my experiences. And then from my master's degree, I went on to get a medical communications degree from the University of Chicago. So that's my academic background, but so much more of me has always been an athlete at heart. I have admired athletes from the age of 5 when I started watching basketball, completely fell in love with the game. Players like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, all of the Raptors and all of the legendary NBA players like Tim Duncan from the champion San Antonio Spurs team have been inspirations to me. And I have endured so much physical adversity through my physical condition of cerebral palsy, but that never stopped me in believing in myself that I could get physically stronger and better consistently. But in order to do that, I had to put in a lot of physical work and learn a lot of techniques for emotional resilience and mental toughness as well. So my journey very early on started with comprehensive methods of therapy and exploring with different therapies, whether they were conventional, those that typically individuals would experience in North America, being physiotherapy, occupational therapy, bracing, trying different medications. But my parents and I, specifically my mom and I, but dad as well, always believed in Eastern medicine more, and we were always looking for other modalities to help me improve physically. And I see myself as being very similar to a professional athlete in that my everyday, basically since I was a kid, started with rigorous physical therapy of some form in order to improve my physical condition. And that, by extension, built my character in every way, which is what inspired my fitness journey. And Mo, I'm not sure if that'll be a question. I'm sure, what inspired me to get on my fitness journey, but really, this wasn't something that I came to, within a couple of years and I decided, oh, it would be cool to go to a gym. I want to go to a gym. This has been something that has been in my DNA since, as I said, since I was a baby. I've been exposed to different therapeutic approaches. And it wasn't until I was 16 that I really said to myself, okay, I want to, and that's not to say that I wasn't training before that. As I just said, I was doing things my whole life. But when I was 16, that was really when I turned a corner and I said to myself that I want to go to the gym. I want to train the way that my peers and my friends were training in the gym. And I never thought that it would bring me as much joy and change my life in the way that it did. So now I am now an adaptive athlete. I've been training at high performance functional fitness level for over 12 years. Adaptive fitness consultant, which is a role that I stepped into through the work of my nonprofit organization, and the founder of a nonprofit organization, Flex for Access, which really looks to shift the whole paradigm of fitness for individuals who are part of special populations and educating mainstream fitness professionals. So for me, I'm an individual who, the larger the limitation is, or if you tell me no, I don't know, 200,000 times, and, people expect that, I'm going to be run over by a train and I'm not going to be able to get up. Guess what? I will find a way to get back up. And I always say that no challenge is too great for me to be able to conquer and to be able to accomplish the next thing. So that's the kind of mantra that I live by. And that's a little bit about who I am.
Wow. I'm just going to say hell yes, because that was unbelievable. And talking about finding your why through your life journey that led you to what you do today. I mean, what a gift you're giving to the world. It makes me quite emotional. And I've known you for a few years and I learned so much about you, but you're a rock star and you are a professional athlete. You say that writing was the way to express yourself. Well, that's a Taylor Swift story in itself. But the fact that you trained your whole life, and while I haven't lived your journey, I actually grew up as a very, let's just say I had a little rough start as well. And I needed a lot of physical therapy. And that's why I fell in love with physiotherapy for many reasons, because I was introduced to physiotherapy when I was learning to walk. So, it's amazing how our life experiences give such meaning and inspiration to how we decide to embark upon our journey in this one life that we get to live. So I honor you, my friend. And wow, I know our listeners are going to be blown away by your story and just the passion and confidence you have in how you articulate, not only your altitude, but your attitude towards the altitude that you have climbed in your life thus far. I tell you, we're all very blessed to have you, not only in the fitness industry, but in our lives. So thank you for that. Fabulous start. I do want to ask, you are so just, I don't know the word to describe because it's beyond passionate around your passion to educate others, your purpose to educate. I wanted to ask you why you believe it is as important as it is for not only fitness professionals, but all health care professionals to understand about creating adaptations to exercise, even to therapy, for individuals who are part of special populations.
Well, I already made you cry, so this is
Yes, you
probably
did.
this additional, and I'm sorry for that. And it was hard for me not to tear up after
Yeah.
you followed up after I spoke. So I don't want this to turn into a crying fest. But honestly, the reason why I'm so passionate is because I have faced so much adversity and so much rejection from even fitness professionals and health practitioners who have said to me before in the past, for example, when I set a goal for myself, for example, a goal like transferring, from my wheelchair into standing up and being able to sit on another chair, or having, dare I say it, having the dream, and I have to try not to cry saying this, having the dream of being able to walk one day myself and being told by a healthcare professional, oh, you're never going to get there. I'll never forget when I was in the neurologist's office when I was about 10 years old. And she just looked at me and she said, Jess, guess what? You need to accept that you have cerebral palsy and you're never going to be able to walk. And there are going to be so many things that you're not going to be able to do. So the reason why I'm so passionate about educating consistently and advocating is because I believe that through education and through demonstrating by example and, teaching fitness professionals that there are ways that programming can be modified, and health professionals for that matter, that is the way that we can really make a difference and impact all individuals' lives and impact their quality of life through
Mm-hmm.
movement in the case of fitness and through other therapeutic approaches. And I believe also that without education, nobody's growing and nobody's improving themselves, and nobody's, by extension of that, benefiting society as a whole. So that is why I'm
Mm.
so invested in the continual education. And I also, during COVID, fell and fractured my wrist. So I couldn't train in the way that, I was training to do movements bilaterally, on both sides. But that didn't stop me. And I was still lifting my weights with my right arm, with my left one being in a splint and being fractured. And during COVID, when so many of us who were part of special populations didn't have access to going to the gym and didn't have access to trainers that knew how to train us because of our complex, quote unquote,
Mm.
cases and, life stories, I said to myself, I need to take it upon myself as the founder and executive director of Flex for Access to now become a fitness consultant to teach mainstream fitness professionals how they can actually devise programming and how there's value add for them to be working with individuals like myself who are part of special populations.
Mm. So I hear you, the power of education, knowledge is power, but with that comes then the responsibility of acting on that knowledge you have. And I know you lead by step one of educate people so that then they have understanding. And now you teach mainstream fit pros about inclusive and adaptive fitness. I know that is a very in-depth area, but could you touch upon what would be the initial steps for a fitness professional to embark upon training education for themselves to be more adaptive in their fitness approach? Where would you
Well,
start?
yeah, so I'll be very transparent with you and say that there aren't a lot of resources out there
Mm-hmm.
for fitness professionals to be learning about adaptive fitness and the programming, which is why I do what I do and why I believe that I have more of a purpose, to go back to your introduction. But what I would say the first step for any fitness professional and any individual for that matter, doing anything, whether it's fitness, wellness, any sort of leadership role that you occupy and anything that we do in life, the first step is trusting yourself and trusting your confidence, and really working with individuals who are part of special populations takes a lot more research and trial and error and kind
Mm-hmm.
of risk of, not being afraid of taking risks, so not being risk of adverse. And one of the first steps that I always talk about in my consulting is communication. So when an individual sees me, for example, and they see me in my power chair when I was going to the gym previously, or now I train in home or on videos, wherever it is they see me, they automatically assume. So they assume that I have a spinal cord injury. They assume that I'm paralyzed. And so the first thing I say is, don't assume. The first thing you can do being a fitness professional, and I think that fitness professionals are one of, a grouping of the most amazing and strong human beings and well-versed human beings. So one of the first things I say is communicate with the individual who has a physical challenge, because we will educate you by telling you what we need and what we want to do, and then modify the program based off of that. So something that I did with Flex for Access, for example, at the start of the pandemic, was we created an ebook called Adapt to Empower, which is a tool for fitness industry professionals to be learning about adaptive fitness, about the programming, about uh, mental toughness being part of that physical programming, about adaptive exercise equipment. And it's really a comprehensive resource that I use as a springboard for my consulting, to be able to teach them that there is a untapped opportunity for many of them to work with individuals who are part of these more complex demographics who actually need movement and wellness and fitness more than anybody else does. But the first step, I would say, is trusting oneself and communicating, and then being really creative with how we develop programming.
Being creative and building that rapport will build that relationship of trust both ways, and being authentic, asking the client. That's so important because I find that often we think, oh, we're a fitness professional, we're supposed to know it all. No, we're supposed to know how to learn what we don't know and be okay with that, and be
Yeah.
okay of letting our client know. Those are such incredible points. You did mention your ebook. Could you repeat the name of it, and how can our listeners access that book?
Definitely. But I just wanted to go back a point if we can.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
know we're on a clock as well, but I
Yeah.
wanted to go back a point to say that, I actually dealt with more than one professional in my life journey. This fitness journey started over 12 years ago, but as I said, I've been doing things since I was a child. But I have been told by some fitness professionals when I just started working with them, or health practitioners, don't tell me what to do. I have 30 years of experience and I know
Ah,
what I'm doing. And let me tell you, so my most recent experience with the don't tell me what to do, I know what I'm doing. I've worked with individuals who have cerebral palsy. You know what that led to? That led to a tear in my meniscus and a knee injury that I'm still recovering from, which happened before COVID. So the key is listening and communicating, and the fitness professional needs to listen to the client, especially if the client has more complex needs, because we know how our body works better than an individual that we're working with. So sorry, I just wanted to go back to that.
that's a great point. And I just took an adaptive fitness online course, and it's exactly that. Learn from your clients, learn, especially those that you do not have the experience working with, who have, adaptive needs. Learn from them and embrace that opportunity to build that relationship of teaching each other. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry. I believe that you just taught us a very valuable lesson for those who may think that they have all the knowledge based on years of work, that every day we're always learning, and we're always learning from each other. So I appreciate you being frank and saying how it is, so that people will understand and, be mindful of how they may correspond with their clients. I love how you responded, but I also, it brought me back to a moment where I experienced interaction. I was indirectly involved, and the first thing I thought of was, well, you may have all this knowledge, but you are not working with me, because if you have that kind of attitude, I don't want to work with you anyways.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it's, you still always have that courage to, to do what you know is best, and you continue to role model that to help the industry. Um,
So
and this, go ahead.
to go back to what FlexFrax's
Yes.
ebook is called. It's called the Adapt to Empower ebook. And if listeners want to learn more, if they're fitness professionals or health practitioners who want to learn more about how this could complement your practice in fitness or in the health industry, it's available for purchase through FlexFraxis's website, which is www.flexfraxis.ca. If you hit the tab books, you will then see a sub-tab that says ebook, and you can purchase it through PayPal or by e-transferring Flex for Access, and then I will send you the copies of the ebook because it is not currently available for one-click download. But it is a very comprehensive resource. I know that it has a price tag that many say, is quite expensive, but it took a lot of research and a lot of curation on the part of professionals, and it does serve extreme value add for professionals. So that is why it is priced at what it is priced at.
Education and training is invaluable, and we know how valuable it is when we make that investment, but what we learn is the greatest investment of all. So thank you for sharing that, and it's probably a great segue to talk about Flex for Access. We mentioned it off the top of the episode that you founded Flex for Access. It's a non-profit organization, and it arose from your story, your journey, your passion for fitness and sport, and also a realization that there needs to be a shift in education and awareness in all persons with disability, but specifically cerebral palsy, other disabilities, and actionable opportunities for those embarking upon adaptive fitness and sport as a way to manage physical disabilities and acquired injury. Um, you're embarking on your fourth annual, congratulations, fourth
Thank
annual
you.
Flex for Access Gala.
Yes,
Um, and we have something else in common, my friend. Your theme this year is similar to the theme at CanFit Pro Global, and that is
I know.
SOAR. That's so not serendipity, but purposeful, I'm sure. So tell us about your event. Explain your theme because it's
For
an acronym, and share all the details about the event, how people can get
sure. So
involved, attend.
I'm very excited to be on here to be promoting and talking to everybody about the upcoming event. It is our fourth annual upcoming in-person gala fundraiser. So we've done, just to be clear, Flex for Access is a nonprofit organization that is now 7 years old, hard to believe. We
Woo!
turned 7 at the beginning of this month, and it's been quite a journey, let me tell you, of literally reaching fitness professionals and individuals across the world. So we operate nationally as a nonprofit organization. We have raised over $25,000 since our inception. The organization raises funds for adaptive fitness-based training sessions, sports programs. So we work in partnership with gyms, exercise facilities, strength and conditioning coaches, physiotherapists, kinesiologists who facilitate the training sessions. And then my organization partners with them to offset the cost for program recipients for their training sessions, purchase adaptive exercise equipment, and also facilitate sports programs. One of those sports programs that we facilitated in the past was adaptive rock climbing, which is very fun and an amazing experience. We facilitated events for over 20 participants. And our upcoming gala fundraiser, SOAR, the title stands for Sport Opportunity Amalgamation and Redefinition. Amalgamation of perspectives is what I'm talking about, of perspectives of fitness industry professionals and community members and community leaders, and also redefinition of adaptive fitness within the mainstream. That is key for me as an individual, as an adaptive athlete, and also educator, and also for what my organization stands for, because there are many organizations that exist for adaptive or parasport, so to speak. And what
Mhm.
they do phenomenal things, but what they typically do is that they exist separately from the mainstream. So what I mean by that is that they allow individuals with challenges to go to their specialized rehab centers or specialized facilities to participate in sport. My goal with Flex for Access was for it to create opportunities within the mainstream and to redefine perspectives and the education and the confidence of professionals in the fitness industry to be able to serve these individuals within mainstream settings. So SOAR looks to do just that. It looks to bring together fitness industry professionals, athletes, community leaders, government officials, for example, many of whom I have a relationship with and Flex for Access has a relationship with, all to raise a larger amount of funding in support of Flex for Access and create more engagement and education. So the event takes place on Thursday, November 14th, coming up fast, at the Ford Performance Center in Etobicoke from 7 to 10:30 in the evening. And it is going to be a very engaging evening where we'll have lots of exciting and inspiring speakers, many of whom are from the para hockey world. We'll have a speaker who has competed on the Paralympic stage, as well as another speaker who is a para hockey and wheelchair basketball athlete and tennis coach. And Mo, your great friend and colleague, Brad Warren,
I
from
heard.
Life, is going to be a speaker at the event, who I have now very strongly befriended, and we are hoping to do very exciting work together. So he is going to be a speaker, and hopefully many of your industry colleagues and friends, and yourself included, will be at the fundraiser. It'll be a gala fundraiser with a cocktail style sort of event where we're going to be having food passed around, and there will be a raffle and auction, and we're going to have live entertainment. There's going to be a spoken word poet, artist who's going, and lyricist who's going to perform, as well as a violinist, and like I said, many exciting speakers. And it'll be a great opportunity for everybody to continue to learn about Flex for Access, engage with our organization, and have a more dynamic impact in enabling opportunities for adaptive fitness and sport promotion within the mainstream.
And you mentioned so many amazing things that are going to take place at your event. And you had the ability to meet Brad Warren at an event, a ChemFit Pro global event. The power of attending an event like this is so beyond the event itself. It's the people you meet, it's the impact you create, the people you meet, and those relationships that will help project your career forward. Just as you mentioned, you met Brad, and as a result, that is a new relationship with a very significant fitness organization that, you know, believes in what you're doing and in the effort to bring those organizations together, yours and theirs. You never know what that will hold for moving your, you know, your purpose forward. So I'm glad you mentioned the people that you have met being at events. That's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I always like to share is if you want to learn how to move yourself forward in your purpose and with your passion, is attend events. And even when you, and most importantly, stepping out of your comfort zone of the events that you always go to by
Yeah.
attending an event like yours coming up in November. Because having attended your event, it was empowering how many people that I actually knew that we work in similar and different industries, but one thing brought us all together, and that was you and Flex for Access.
Thank
So
you.
it's such a great event. I encourage all of you who have heard about it now to explore it further. We will, when we post this episode, we will include the details of how you can connect with Jess. But Jess, tell us how best people can learn about the event. Where would they go? I'm
Definitely.
sure it's your
So,
website.
yeah, so there are a lot of posts that have already been published on social media, advertising the event, promoting the event on Flex for Access's social media. For those of you who may not be following Flex, the handle on Instagram, Facebook, and X is at Flex for Access, all lowercase. And there are many posts there. And one of the best ways to learn about the event and secure your spot at the event, which I'm really working to make a push now because, as I said, we're less than 3 months away, is by purchasing your ticket now or as soon as possible. They are available through Eventbrite. And the ticket link is on our website under news and events. And if you hit on the article that speaks to the event SOAR on Thursday, November 14th, it'll bring you to the ticket link. And tickets are also available on Flex for Access's, within Flex for Access's bio on Instagram as well. And we're really looking forward to an exciting and really engaging event. I'm really hoping that this can really be sort of like the catalyst event for so many of my colleagues in the fitness industry who occupy very large roles to continue to realize my role within their work and how I can actually, through working with Flex for Access, they are opening their work up to the new demographic of special populations who, as I said, if these fitness professionals are not paying attention to special populations, what is happening is that these individuals who already have complex conditions actually predispose themselves to be worsening, and for their physical condition to worsen, but also for them not to be socializing and not to be engaging with other pursuits of life that we engage with on a daily basis. And I will share through all of my advocacy work and also training other clients that have physical disabilities, the thing that they speak to and that, you know, really resonates with me is that it still feels as though we're kind of that fringe community, trying to
Mm,
enter the world of fitness and sport and being active, and it's still seen as inspirational. And there's a lot of inspirational porn. Like whenever I train or whenever I flex my bicep, I hear comments like, "Whoa, you're so inspiring. That's so amazing." And let me tell you, it's not that I'm hurt by the word, or words, "You are an inspiration," but I don't do it for the accolade. I do it for
mm,
myself, for my own wellness and fitness and health, because I recognize that the way to improve is to continually train and, learn about approaches to mindfulness and wellness, and to continually open ourselves up to complementary approaches to health, which so many of us, I feel like, don't do because we get lost because there's so much saturation in the health and wellness and fitness industry. But further to that, we need to be, and when I say we, I mean as an individual who has a physical disability, need to be recognized just as normal, everyday humans. And we're not doing the things that we're doing to be considered inspirations. But what
mm,
I'm aiming to do through the work of my nonprofit organization is to shift perspectives, to impact education, but most importantly, to change the lives of individuals who have physical disabilities, to actually allow them to walk or to improve their physical conditions, um, notwithstanding their physical limitations.
mm. Thank you for sharing that. Is so important, and the perspective and the why behind your daily efforts. Thank you, because again, you're helping us all understand how to support you and those with physical and otherwise disabilities in all aspects, and to see all people and all persons with disability as typical people, or as they would say, normal, but the typical person. It's just, we all have our own thing, but normalizing it for everyone is really important. Um, and creating avenues that we all have the same opportunities. That's the
Yeah,
advocacy piece that you are incredible at, and needs to be continued. You need to continue to do what you're doing, and the right people at the right time will hear the right message from you, and
thank
everything
you.
will align.
Well,
And with a theme like SOAR, it's how is it not possible that you will not achieve that goal this year?
yeah, and so something that I've, said in the presentation that I'm working on putting together for the event is, SOAR is an acronym that I spoke to, but by coming together and fusing those perspectives, we can actually soar all together. I don't want that to sound cliche, but,
Hmm.
have a larger impact through the different perspectives being amalgamated into one, welded into one. We can actually create more life-changing opportunity. And, when you say that my message needs to be heard by more industry leaders and community leaders, I have to say that meeting you, I feel like has changed my career in such a way that I've been able to have a larger impact and just be more invested in what I do, even if some days I'm might be a little more discouraged than I want to be. But also meeting Brad and him telling me that he realized that there's a niche that he really needs to be doing more work in with Good Life, and
Hmm.
the only way he can do that work is through meeting somebody like me and us joining forces. That has really been so humbling for me, and I'm so excited for all the opportunities to come. So
Oh,
I
wow.
am very ready and very excited to continue to stay strong and flexing, and continue to have a very large impact collaboratively.
Oh, you will. You will. Great segue, Jess, to the question I wanted to ask before we close the show today is, what do you envision for your future in business, in life? I'm always curious what people have as their desires and dreams for their journey forward. You've shared some of that in your work that you're doing, but what do you envision for yourself and for your business?
I always feel like that's such a hard question to answer because
I know.
it's so loaded and there are so many things that I want to do. And me being me, the entrepreneur and someone who's so tenacious, somebody described me as being tenacious because I'm so persistent. I feel like that's very difficult to answer. But what I envision for myself is to continue to hopefully have a larger role doing medical communications and health communications with whether it's with clients that I work with, but I am looking for more of a stable opportunity to do that within communications. Um, Something that I also envision for myself, I'm a writer. Well, I have 2 books on Amazon, but I actually have a third book as well. I am in the process of, I started writing a novel. So I would like to eventually finish that. I have a goal of being able to, my big goal is to be able to walk, if not independently, but with an assistive device of some sort. But my first goal is to continue to do more strength training and be able to finally, hopefully, deadlift this year with little to no assistance. And I really want to be able to perfect my squats and hopefully be able to take a step unsupported is one of my goals. For my business, I want to continue to galvanize its impact. So I want to fundraise more and I want that funding to go further by creating more opportunities for adaptive fitness. Part of that, Mo, also includes you, and I'd love to have follow-up conversations about, how I can be involved more with CanFit Pro to leverage and amplify Flex's impact as well as also with Good Life. I really am hoping I can also get more involved with corporate wellness and consulting. And then for myself on a personal front, I just got married, so I'm hoping I can do a good job as wife and have a lot of really memorable and amazing experiences with my husband.
Oh, that's so lovely. And yes, the reason that we're here today is to provide a platform so that your message can get out to more. And in the very small way that a moment with Mo, does deliver that message, I hope it reaches those even one or two people that have not heard your story that are looking for ways to create greater impact in their why and journey, that they will now have found you and will be able to reach out to you. And it would just be so wonderful if anyone out there who watches this, listens to this episode, knows the person, if it's not themselves, that would love to connect with Jess, get involved with Flex for Access and the work that she's doing. Works in the medical area, that needs a good communication writer and advocate, that you can then reach out to Jess as well. You've told us how to connect with you on social. What's the best way for people to connect with you directly? Would that be through your website, or do you have something else you'd
So
recommend?
the best way that anyone can connect with me directly, whether it's for sponsorship or if they want to become a longstanding donor to Flex for Access or working collaboratively in any way through consulting or joining forces with Flex for Access, the very best way to connect with me is to shoot me an email to flexforaccess@gmail.com. That's FLEXFOR, the word for, not the number for, ACCESS@gmail.com. And then via email, we can connect and take the next step from there.
Perfect. So we invite you to take that next step in the actions that you take for your own journey as a fitness healthcare professional, and or embarking upon working with Jess, Flex for Access. And you now know how to connect on all fronts there. And just as we close, I'm going to bring Jess back at the end. I want to share a quote with you, my friend, that I found that I thought was so purposeful for our respected themes of SOAR this year. But I do want to remind everybody to subscribe to my blog. You can find out about the work that I do and you can connect. I'm going to have Jess provide me the details for her event. I'll put it on my website as well, Jess. So we have a mutual friend here in the background that will help make that happen. But you can go to mohagan.com. And the theme of my upcoming September blog is inspired by both the conversation that I've had today with you, Jess, and it'll also be my out front and behind the scenes from CanFit Pro Global that
Ooh,
happened just felt like yesterday, a couple weeks ago. And
right?
so please subscribe so you can get that scoop. And and then I do want to close with this really incredible quote that I found by Charles Swindoll. And it goes like this. And this is how we'll close today, Jess. People who soar are those who refuse to sit back, sigh, and wish things would change. They neither complain of their lot nor positively dream of a distant ship coming in. Rather, they visualize in their minds that they are not quitters and they will not allow life circumstances to push them down and hold them under. And that is my quote for the meaning of soar.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Jess. And
Thank you for having me.
oh, my pleasure. Thank you all for listening and viewing today's episode. And we both wish you all opportunities to soar to the next level of success in life, work, and your journey to discover and live your why. Thanks, everyone.
I will just say stay strong and flexing, and I can't wait to see everybody at the upcoming Gala Fundraiser Soar on Thursday, November 14th. Mo, that includes you if you will be in the country. And I'm really looking forward to us continuing to work together. Thank you.
Perfect. Bye for now, all.